Well, today we'll discuss about the last few points about this module 2, which are connectors, splices, and couplers. In the last class, frequently we have discussed about these connectors and splices. So, two types of joints we have discussed, which are coming under this one. So, fiber splices, which will give you the semi-permanent or permanent joints, which are like soldered joints. So decoupling or demountable fiber connectors are nothing but our normal analogous to the electrical plugs or sockets, which are known as the connectors. So because of these joints are actually suffering from the phenomena that is actually we discussed that as a Fresnel reflection. So we discussed in detail little bit about this Fresnel reflection and came through some of the quantitative discussion that how we can minimize this Fresnel reflection by using a index matching fluid in the gap of that joint. So we came across many numerical formulas here, which are we found it very useful in solving the problems. So I asked you to practice these things. So remember, guys, today we are at the end of the module 2, and starting from module 1 we came across many diagrams and numerical derivations, numerical formulas, a little bit less rather derivations. You need to practice all these things, and two models will be there your first CIE. So this is my normal practice. So normally I used to keep first two models for CIE one, then later as usual for the second CIE and third CIE like that. Two, three, sorry, three, four, and five like that. We also came across three possible types of fiber misalignments like lateral shift or offset, longitudinal or angular misalignments. So from the graphs we have came to know that longitudinal misalignment will not provide less insertion loss and is found to be very much useful compared to lateral and angular misalignments, because these lateral and angular misalignments actually they suffer from increased or enhanced insertion losses if you still go with using other adjacent techniques like using or adopting matching fluids, index matching fluids in that gap. We discussed that joints with the multi-mode fiber joints and single mode fiber joints in the last class. So many formulas are coming, and I have to tell it once again. You have to practice. You have to remember. You just write it down on the paper daily. What all the formulas you are getting, which is very much important. So today we are going to focus on the fiber splices, which are semi-permanent, sorry, permanent connectors. Again, there are two types depending on whether you are using permanent or semi-permanent joint between the two ends of the optical fibers. So the advantage of this using fiber splices is in long haul networks where small fiber lengths are required to be joined. So many twists and bends will be there. So there they in long haul optical networks they like to use small segments of the optical fibers, and it is required to join them. Many joints will exist there. Hence, there is no any requirement for the repeated connection or a disconnection. So that is why they are going to form a permanent joints. So again, there are two broad categories under these fiber splices. So based on which splicing technique you are using, sorry, fusion splicing or welding or mechanical splicing. Means splicing technique is nothing but is a method or a process where uh, two ends of the fibers are to be joined or butted together. So what technique they are using to butt together or to form the joint may be a fusion splicing where localized heating either coming from the flame as a source or localized heating may be coming from the source as an electric arc. So that can be used to but pre-align the fiber ends, causing them to form a softened fused fiber joint. So the joint what it is forming, its characteristic features are quite different from the two ends, two fiber ends, because you are uh, using the heating concept here, you heating it. So while doing so, it will become soft compared to the either ends of the fibers. Its characteristic features are different. Its tensile, like its tensile strength will be reduced. Its some dimensions got changed, and no doubt some index matching fluid maybe they are using that we can see later in detail about these things. And the second category coming under this fiber splices, some mechanical splicing where they are going to use tubes, uh, conducting tubes in the form of a cylinder or a V groove around the fiber, or you can say some metallic tube is there for you to understand. In that metallic tubing, from either ends, they will insert two fiber ends they want to join by keeping index matching fluid in at the center of the that tubing. If required, they what they will do, they will keep some index matching fluid inside that tubing, and from the either ends of the tube, left and right, they will insert two ends of the fiber that we want to join with some index matching fluid already kept at the center of that tubing. That's what is known as a mechanical splicing. We are doing it mechanically. And let the two ends of the fiber to join by themselves by keeping the index matching fluid in between. That will adjust automatically, and the whole thing, the tubing is going to govern uh, to form the joint with the help of this index matching fluid with the two fiber ends on either side. So again, depending on the technique, so because we have to reduce the insertion loss because you are going to form the joint here. So some techniques will be used to reduce the insertion loss here also in the fiber splices, maybe fusion splicing or mechanical splicing, which are those two techniques are nothing but fiber end preparation and alignment. It is like this. So fiber end preparation is nothing but suppose for in a layman way to understand, if you take two fiber ends, for example, fibers are very thin and they are soft. So in order to join the two ends, you are going to smooth the two ends so that they can, if you join them, they looks like that is called a fiber end preparation and should be properly aligned. So that technique will be used either by using knives and some other cleaving tools. Okay, as it has been shown here. because the both cross sectional areas should be perfectly matched and aligned properly. Otherwise, it may lead to longitudinal, lateral, or angular misalignment that will be going to contribute more towards the insertion loss. Remember, now we'll start getting the insertion loss not only because of the uh, misalignment, if it will happen, it will also occur because of if you don't do uh, perfect curvature or cross sectional areas to be matched. By that also we'll start getting the insertion losses. That's why they are using this technique, that is fiber end preparation and alignment. So accordingly, we got two types here under fiber splices: fusion splices and mechanical splices. As it is clear in this figure, basic arc fusion process, that is the name of the process they are using. So it is clear in the first step, you can see in the initial setting, two ends of the fiber that we want to join brought closer to each other with the electric arc to be produced with electrodes as shown in the figure. And the second step, they will try to form a perfusion. Perfusion means they will apply the electric arc with the two ends separated and let the ends to expand and join. Because when you heat it with the help of electric arc, by joining initially, then they will expand and they will create irregular joint. The same thing is also happening in case of railway tracking joints. If they are going to join, same thing, they will maintain some distance, they will heat it up, in that gap they will fill up something and heat it up and make the two ends to join. So later they will be pressed and moved together so that to form a smooth fiber joint, depending on how much they expanded and how much electric arc heating will be produced. So later the electric arc will be removed by after the formation of the splice, as it is clear in the fourth step. So such a kind of a technique that is known as prefusion removes the requirement of for fiber end preparation, which has a unique advantage in the optical environment, which can produce insertion loss in multi-mode fibers with up to 0.09 decibels, which is less. But practically, it is inevitable. So this is the technique or method what we are following in the fusion places. Whereas in single mode fibers with a core diameter from 5 to 10 micrometers, will have the problems of like lateral offsets of less than 1 micrometer, which is actually required is telling for low loss joints. You can see here for single mode fibers, actually the lateral offset he is telling it is a little bit required up to 1 micrometer to have the low loss. That in single mode. This is very important, guys. Lateral offset actually we want to avoid, but it is here it is required in case of single mode fibers as far as fusion splicing is concerned. As far as the core diameters are ranging from 5 to 10 micrometers, so that they can keep the insertion loss limited up to below 0.3 dB. So like that you can see some lateral offset will be there as it is visible in the figure C. So while doing so, the fusion fiber splicing, the fusion what we are doing with the help of the electric arc. So 30% of the tensile strength of the fiber will be lost. We are losing by hitting it compared to the original two fiber ends. So this much you should know as far as the fiber splices are concerned, as far as the fusion splices, the first type. Second type is a mechanical splices. Here, it is going to provide very much less insertion loss up to zero point 0.1 decibels. What they can do, as it is clear in this figure, they are using a snug tube here. From the other ends, they are going to insert the optical fiber ends they want to join by keeping the index matching fluid in between and let the things to go automatically. Again, there are different types like loose tube splicing, as you can see here. A square section will be there with some V groove, sorry, square or V groove. From the other ends, they will insert the optical fibers with the epoxy or index matching fluid between these or at the center of this V groove. And two fiber ends we want to butted will be brought together so that with the help of epoxy they are going to form the smooth fiber joints. So this is the mechanically we are going to do it either by using a loose tube splice as it is visible here, loose tube splice technique, and this one is a V groove technique, and here the last one elastomeric splice, elastic tube technique. So like that, many times I came across this question. Write a short note on the fiber places. So where you should put the note or comment or account of what you mean by the fiber places and their background initially. And to begin with, later you can give the sufficient reasonings why you are going for the two broad categories like fiber splices and mechanical splices. So the diagrams you can see, you have to practice here and you have to theoretical things are there. So similar question which has been asked once in VTU January 2017 for 8 marks, explain briefly the various fiber splicing techniques. The same answer I have rewritten here for your convenience with a different or similar diagrams here. You can go through it. I am going to upload those things today in the Google Classwork. Next, some formulas we are getting, guys, as far as the fiber splicings are concerned with respect to the single mode fibers. Like the losses, what we are getting, some of the formulas are there. So I want you to go through them. The things are very simple. So which are I will be uploading today as a part of the notes, which will be uploaded later in the Google Classroom. Later we'll get the fiber connectors, which are like decoupled. You can mount and unmount at any time. So connectors are mechanisms or techniques used to join optical fiber to another optical fiber without a permanent joint, you can see. So three uh, types are there: subscriber channel connector, straight tip connector, and empty RJ connector. So this one particular question I framed here once I have seen this one in one of the question paper. What are the requirements of a good connector? It should have low coupling loss, means it should be compatible from one to another manufacturer. So because when suppose if you are going to join the two single mode fibers from the two different manufacturers, then this coupling good connector should have compatibility from one to another manufacturer. So ease of assembly, technician can easily understand and install it. Low environmental sensitivity, it cannot vary much with conditions like temperature, dust or moisture. It should have less effect on the connector. low cost and reliable construction. Connector must have precision suitable to the application. So these are the some requirements of the good connector. So main thing, the connector types, again, there are two broad categories are there, as we have seen in case of fiber splices, fusion splices and mechanical splices, what you have seen. Like that, we have got two types in connectors, butt joint connectors. Hello, hello. Yes, now it is clear. So two butt joint designs are there, like a straight sleeve and a tapered sleeve. In a straight sleeve, you can see uh, the length of the sleeve and guided ferrules will decide the end separation of two fibers. So here again, the straight sleeve alignment mechanism of fiber optic connectors is helpful in maintaining the alignment of the two ends of the fibers from which we are going to form the fiber connector or joint. Whereas in tapered sleeve or biconical connector mechanism, the tapered sleeve is used to include tapered ferrules as it is clearly visible in the figure. So by using the guided rings, we are going to use the tapered ferrules here so that it can accommodate and form the joints here. Whereas in another type of a connector, that is expanded beam connector, we are going to use two lenses from the two fiber ends from which we want to form the joint. So these lenses are providing the collimating beam, but with the condition that the fiber to lens distance should be kept equal to the focal length of the lens. So the main advantage of this scheme is that as the beam is collimated, so means highly directional, separation fibers takes place within the connector, and connector is less dependent on the lateral alignment. So the connector return loss, because of some misalignment, will also get this connector return loss sometimes, as it has been shown in the figure. So this all about two types of connectors what we have got, straight sleeve and tapered sleeve connectors, which are coming under butt joint connectors. So short note will get normally will get this connectors. You define it, mention the types and the operating principles or the requirements of the good connector you can entitle there. After that, you can continue with the discussion of the different types of the connectors. So next one we'll discuss the another important point for today's discussion is the fiber couplers. Fiber couplers are the devices which are actually used either to distribute the light from one to many or to couple or to mix up the light coming from different ports to one port, different sources to one direction. Means it can be used either mugs or demugs, optical mugs or demugs like that. So the applications include like data buses, LANs, computer networks, telecommunication access networks. So these are actually passive devices in which the power transfer takes place either as it is clearly visible in the figure, either the power transfers from fiber core cross section, so fiber core cross section by the butt jointing the fibers or by using some form of imaging optics, or it is happening normal to the two fiber axis. Okay. So it is a passive device. The power transfer is happening like this, either longitudinally or laterally like this, between the two fibers. So there are three main categories of multi-port optical fiber couplers, like 3 and 4 port couplers, which are used for signal splitting, distribution, and combining the signals. Star couplers mainly used for distributing the single input signal to multiple outputs. And WDM couplers are used to combine uh, multiple different wavelength signals which are coming from different input ports, multiplex them and send them, or demultiplex them. So normally in WDM techniques, WDM couplers are used. We are going to study in detail about this one in the module 5. Like that you can see, the coupler can be used as a 1 to 2, 1 port input and 2 port output, as a splitter. Means the light is coming and splitted into two directions. That's what is known as splitter. 1 to 2 port coupler. Like that we got 3 and 4 port couplers. Similarly here the combiner, the light coming from the two ports will be combined, that is multiplexed and sent as a single signal. Here you can see 4 port coupler, star coupler, which will accept the input of different wavelengths with M ports, multiplexed, sent through one channel. Then they will be demultiplexed and sent their respective N ports at the receiver side. Wavelength multiplexer. Wavelength multiplexer is quite different from the normal multiplexer. Normal multiplexer, what it will do, it will interleave the signals and send it as a one signal. Whereas this wavelength multiplexer, it will add the two wavelengths. Suppose if the signals are coming like this, combining, they are as if they are appearing like a combining. Combining means it will simply add the two wavelengths. Wavelength demultiplexer means it will split. If it is splitting means it will separate. Whatever the sum of two wavelengths are coming, it will be separated. That is the difference between the normal multiplexer, demultiplexer, and wavelength multiplexer and demultiplexer. So like that, guys, you need to explain about these couplers in detail with the simple diagrams. Let us look at each of these types in detail. 3 and 4 port coupler. Here, lateral offset method is used to form the 3 and 4 port optical fiber couplers, depending on the percentage of overlapping. Here you can see. So three optical fiber ends we are going to form here, because splitter, suppose if you want, signal is coming here and we want it to be splitted. So three optical segments need to be joined here. So for that we are using lateral offset method. Some, depending on how the signals are going to overlap from each of these fiber sections, that is going to decide how they can be coupled together to form the splitter, by keeping some, to some extent, lateral offset or not. The semi-transparent mirror technique can be used to form the T joint as it is visible here. And this one is going to provide you the loss up to 1 to 2 decibels. And this one is widely used in the WDM technique. So different loss parameters I have listed here with 4 port fiber coupler, star coupler, for example, like a splitting or coupling ratio, this formula, crosstalk for 4 port coupler, C equal to 10 log to the best P2 by P1. So here these numbers you should remember 1, 2, 3, 4 in the clockwise direction. 1, 2, 3, 4 like this for the 4 port star coupler. Accordingly, we got these formulas. Crosstalk, that is a ratio of a logarithmic ratio of 10 log of P2 by P1. P2 by P1 means it is the ratio of the powers of the top left side power port to the lower port, like that. Splitting ratio, it is P3 by P3 plus P4. means effective power coupling to the port 3. That is the meaning. Similarly, we got excess loss and insertion loss like that. For two more, totally four formulas are there. Problems are very simple, guys. You can go through. All the data will be given. Simply, you need to substitute here. Quickly, we can go through the star coupler in detail. So, two principal manufacturing techniques which are used to form the multi-mode fibers star couplers are mixed rod and FBT methods. In the mixed rod method, a thin platelet of glass is used, which mixes the light from one fiber and dividing it among the outgoing fibers. So you can see here the light here, the arrow it is visible. It is coming with one single arrow, one fiber, and it will be split up through different optical fibers. That is dividing it among the outgoing fibers. This method can be used to produce a transmissive star coupler, reflective star coupler, as it is shown here. Transmissive star coupler is looks like this. Reflective is like this. On the right side, it has only mirror to reflect the incoming ray through these optical fibers. Here you can see many optical fibers are on the right hand side, that is a transmissive. In place of this, suppose if you use a mirror, then it will become reflective star coupler. If you are using FBT technique, then it is known as a FBT star coupler. It's similar to the 3 and 4 port FBT coupler. So for ideal star coupler, the optical power from any input fiber is distributed among output fibers. The total loss concerned to the star coupler consists it's a theoretical splitting loss along with excess loss, as it has been covered here with n output ports. So with this, so these are the some few questions I had taken up from the VT question papers in 2018 and 17. Discuss about the star coupler and also give it splitting and excess loss. Okay, you should remember the formulas. Not don't write any numerical there. Simply write the formula and explain about them along with the star coupler what we discussed with the two types. With the help of sketches outline optical fiber coupler types and their functions. Means you have to explain all the types of fiber couplers. Stop today.